Welcome. You are watching or listening to Light Up Pichwa podcast. This part 2 is with Ilene Dillon, and she is an emotional mastery expert. I had a wonderful time talking to her previous week, and this is another amazing episode, fully loaded with amazing topics regarding emotional well-being and parenting. We covered some topics like how to change our patterns, how to manage our anger, how to resolve our emotions, and so forth. So please stay tuned for this episode. Let me know what you think. Send me your feedback and comments on this comment box or through my website, lightupishwa.com. And you are also welcome to order her book, which is Emotions in Motion, on her website. There are links below, and you can visit her website and send her any feedback. And she will be live on Facebook next week, so stay tuned for that, and I hope you will be there. And do please ask her questions. Thank you.
I think there are many ways that we can be encouraged to change our patterns, and I have gone the emotional route. Emotions are constantly pushing us to change our patterns. Anger, for example, we get angry because we have, inside of ourselves, we have an idea of how things are supposed to be. You know, if I come home from school and you're my mom and I think you should give me a hug and you don't, I'll get angry. If it's simple. It's in the brain in terms of shoulds or should nots.
So right? What is expectation? Is that also coming from emotion? Because we expect too much, and nowadays you hear, don't expect anything. It's in traditions also. In old sages say, if you don't expect anything, then you will be in a peaceful state.
Yes, well, I see this on a more spiritual level. Expectation comes from attachment, and it comes from rigidity. I used to be, I'm a recovered angry person. I was very, very angry.
I read that's what on your website.
That's what catapulted me into working with emotions. And what I learned about myself is that anger was showing how rigid I was. This had to go this way, that was that way. If you didn't behave that way, if you let me down in that way, you know. And so the big message of anger, if I get angry, what it's really showing me is that I have an expectation of the world, that it's supposed to operate a certain way. That's incorrect. Because if my expectation were correct, I would never get violated. You know, I would never feel angry. So it's really, anger is really saying, oh, take a look here. There's some place where you're rigid still. Would you like to open that up?
That's a nice way to do it. Say it, actually.
Well, it has worked for me. Now I'm willing to call myself a recovered angry person. And oh my goodness. You know, we tend to hold our emotions inside of us. And I had a very challenging childhood, and I moved from pillar to post in a military family. And, you know, all kinds, I was taken from my birth mother when I was 2 years old, and all kinds of, you know, things.
Wow.
And I wasn't allowed to express those emotions, right? Nobody explained to me why things were going on. So for over 20 years, I just held all those emotions inside. And guess what? Emotions are energy. And so they're constantly building, and they're constantly seeking a way to get out.
And they make you sick, right? If you don't address them.
They can make you sick. Anger, you hold on to it long enough, it can kill you. Right? And so it took 2 years for me to get all the anger out of me. Took 2 years for it to come out. There was so much in me, right?
So can you share, like, how did you take it out? Like, did you get some help with the therapy, or did you? Okay, so it's a good idea to go to a counselor or therapy.
Because it goes back to that water behind a dam thing, you know. When you've held on to an emotion like anger for a long time, uh, somewhere inside of you that you've got a lot of anger, right? And you're afraid that if you turn it loose, you're just going to destroy everyone and everything in your environment, which can be true, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Uh, and so you're terrified to let it out, and you're terrified not to let it out, right?
Yeah.
And so the purpose of having a therapist or a counselor or a minister or whoever it is that you trust, that's neutral, that you don't have to take care of, and they know something about emotions, is that they can kind of hold on to the outside world for you while you're in this terrible upset that's going on in you. And they can say you're making progress. And here's another way of looking at this. Or they can put their arm around you if you want, if you ask for it. Many can. Many people say therapists shouldn't put their arms around them. I think that's baloney. We need human to human contact.
Right. I mean, we should know what is appropriate or not. That's what we should know, right?
Generally, I should ask you, if I'm a therapist, I should ask you, would you like me to hold you or put my arm around you?
Okay, yeah.
Right? I shouldn't just do it.
Yeah, because we do it in our families when we are grieving or anything. That's what helps us, right? That's what helps.
Yes. And so yes, I had a therapist and she helped me, and I thought this process would never end. There was the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And the biggest message my therapist had for me was, there is an end to this process. And you need somebody outside of you to assure you.
Yes, to assure you. That's right. We all are therapists for each other. I guess I would say that way too. Like,
if we're lucky.
That's true too.
Otherwise, we're really good teachers. We put our thumb on somebody and hold them down.
That's true. In the interest of time and before you're like, okay, that's it, I'm done.
Well, have you noticed I could go on and on and on?
I know, wonderful.
This.
That's and I don't know if you have noticed that I am gonna let you go on and on.
Yes. Well, and that's the message I mentioned to you, that my early childhood was challenging, and many therapists even believe that if you were traumatized or challenged as a young child, you never get over it. And part of my message is we're designed to get over it.
That's the message. Please repeat it. So say it again.
We're designed to get over it. I had those things. I'm having a great life. I'm living on my own, but everywhere I go, I meet people. I get invited to come stay with them, all kinds of things. I have this great life in my 70s. I'm still healthy. I'm going strong. And by the way, dealing with your emotions helps you to stay healthy.
Yes.
And, so I am ready to shout that from the rooftops.
Wonderful. That was very important what you said, to understand and be able to, master your emotions. You have a healthier life even if you're getting older. It doesn't have to be weaker, that you are older, now you have to get weaker and emotionally weaker and physically weaker, So you do exercise, you take care of yourself.
Yes, I did. I was diagnosed with breast cancer about 2.5 years ago, and I decided to treat it. It was a very small and slow-growing breast cancer. My husband had died of cancer, and I didn't see a lot of effort to help him heal, to get well. I saw a lot of effort to help him deal with what was going on and to have at least a tolerable death. He was in quite a lot of pain because the cancer metastasized to the bone. But I wanted to see if I could heal the cancer.
So what did you do?
I consulted with someone who told me about a nutritionist who offered a totally raw diet, which I followed for a year. I promised my children, I'll try this out. In a year, if it hasn't gone, I'll have it removed.
Right.
I went to the head of breast oncology surgery at Duke Medical Center in North Carolina every 3 months and had a mammogram to see what was going on. And she eventually did the surgery. Fabulous, fabulous doctor. I really enjoyed. She partnered with me. We worked on this together, which was so wonderful.
That's very good.
Shelley Huang is her name, and I did qigong, which is energy medicine, and I took supplements, and I lived my life in positive ways. The interesting thing was that I never felt afraid through the whole thing. It was an experience that I was having in life that was ready to teach me something.
So you let it, be.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I did not heal the cancer, but at the end of a year, I also didn't call it my cancer, by the way. I did not heal the cancer, but at the end of a year, it had not grown. It had not spread anywhere.
Very good.
I was able to have a lumpectomy and move on. I never had any terrible bad symptoms or anything of that nature. Now, I believe that the work that I've done with emotions helped me to have a better outcome. Okay? Because I didn't get fearful. I didn't close down. I didn't change who I was. I didn't become a victim. I didn't start saying the illness was mine. And I realize I'm quite fortunate because the whole thing was caught very early.
Yeah, that's important.
It was only like a half inch wide, which was, and my healing has been just wonderful, So it's not that I haven't had some issues, but one of the things I told the doctor is I haven't had a wide spectrum antibiotic in 37 years.
Bless
And
you.
now you're going to do surgery and you're going to insist on giving me a wide spectrum antibiotic, aren't you? And she laughed and she said, it's a clean surgery. I don't have to give it to you. So I'm going on my 38th year of not having a wide spectrum antibiotic.
Very good.
I have developed other ways of healing myself. I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't had a cold or flu in 3 years, and I don't take flu shots.
Flu shots, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's my choice because all the work that I've done is designed to build my immune system.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I don't want to mess with that balance. I've got a good balance going. That's the bottom line.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So here we have Ilene, who is also following alternative, or I should say natural way of, dealing with our health and with her health and, daily ailments or serious ailments. So that's good. I do that same.
Good.
I'm on that side too. That's why I'm so happy to know that.
You can imagine what fun it was for me to be married to a Western doctor.
Oh.
I have the good fortune if I ever get a headache, which I don't very much at all, one Advil will do it for me.
Yeah.
So
Good.
I have that level of sensitivity. But, over the years, as I was saying earlier, I see my approach was how do we get all of our life to work together?
Holistically, you mean? How to
the gestalt, the whole,
the holistic way.
So you and I have talked about parenting, and we've talked about emotions. And we've talked about illness, and we're talking about everything because we are
everything,
complete beings. We're everything, and I think one of the challenges in today's world is that we can really drill down in a particular area and get a huge amount of information. Like in parenting, we can know what sex our child is and what medical problems they might have and all kinds of things that we couldn't know when I gave birth in 1970, right? And so we're tending to lose the view of the whole. And when I was learning to be a therapist years ago, I took a very powerful marriage and family therapy course. And people said to me, Ilene, you look at the details. Really, you look at details a lot, and you miss what's going on in the room, right? Because you're looking at this one person. And they taught me, get up in the middle of a therapy session and walk around the room just so you can see everything that's going on, and then you can also focus. And that's what we need to do in our lives now.
Yes.
We need to focus and drill down, and we also need to stand back and take a look at the whole.
Yep.
But that was one of the advantages I had in being married to my husband, the neurosurgeon. He said, when you are a brain surgeon, you need to know how all of the systems of the body work, because the brain is there running everything. So you have to know everything.
Yep.
And that was a wonderful, wonderful gift. You know, I could say to him, I'm having this feeling over here in my right toe, and he could tell me what I needed to do or what could help it or what might be causing it.
Yep.
And that was a wonderful perspective to have from
very
him.
Good. Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very nice. All right, let's come to you a little bit more than what we have done so far.
Oh, really? There's more?